Hi guys, it's SkintBoot here, and today what I'm going to be bringing you guys is a No Man's Sky video. So I know I've been out of the loop, and hopefully the most recent video explains why that is. But today I feel like I have quite an interesting topic to talk about, something which has actually come about on the No Man's Sky subreddit quite a bit recently. People talking about this new update and whether or not this is actually a bad move on Hello Games' behalf. So in today's video, I want to talk about the new No Man's Sky hype train. The hype surrounding this whole ARG cassette update, which people are really excited about. I want to talk about whether or not this is just the same situation as pre-release. They're going to get their hopes up too high, and ultimately they're going to be left feeling disappointed. So in this video, I want to refer to pre-release, and I want to talk about how Hello Games went about selling No Man's Sky, about how the hype is very different to the current hype which we are experiencing, and of course relating this to the whole ARG Waken Titan, coordinates, portals, things like that. So first and foremost, this whole hype obviously has come about with the start of these cassettes, and that set everything off as such. Now obviously this has led on to a multitude of different things, like the ARGs, like the whole Waken Titan thing, the coordinates, the portal being spelled out in the audio waves, etc. It has breathed some life into the No Man's Sky community, that is for sure. And this is because prior to this, the game has been relatively stagnant, meaning people are really just happy for some activity by Hello Games. Right, so first and foremost, I want to say in the bluntest way possible, who can they honestly disappoint? A huge majority of people who were extremely excited for No Man's Sky before release, which is pretty much like 90% of anyone that enjoys video games, must have left the game upon release. Having seen it was not the game they wanted, and having seen that really it wasn't a particularly strong title at launch, they just left it and they weren't going to come back to it. Obviously a huge portion of the player base was just lost at launch because it was shit, and most of them have not come back to the game. But this is in a way a good thing, because yes, the player count is smaller, but the people that are left are the people that truly enjoy the game for what it is. And this means that because they have been through a shitstorm of No Man's Sky content, especially with dealing with the launch where it was broken as fuck and extremely boring, but still stuck with it and enjoyed it, nothing, and I mean nothing, can make these people hate the game. This update can't make anyone else stop playing the game, unlike pre-release talks and videos which gassed the game up and ultimately left people feeling extremely underwhelmed. The hype for this update is also very different, and this is because pre-release interviews or gameplay showed off things that simply weren't in the game. Sean Murray himself said a extremely high amount of times that you will be able to see other players, that the game is multiplayer, that you can play with your friends. The list goes on for the amount of multiplayer references, but you can't. We all know that you can't. Being lied to straight up, literally lying to your face, is miles apart from the hype with this update. Unlike pre-release, where Sean Murray was saying, yes, this will be in the game, this will be in the game, and then it wasn't in the game, nothing has been confirmed by Hello Games at this point in time. The only thing which is somewhat solid is the fact that the word portal was spelled out in the audio waves. That's it. So in reality, it's the player's own fault if they overexcite the matter and hype themselves up too much. If Hello Games were walking around and saying multiplayer is going to be in the next update, guys, don't worry, portals are going to have a purpose, and then it comes out and they don't, and they have no relevance whatsoever, then that would be the same kind of disappointment levels as pre-release. But because nothing has been confirmed, it's nowhere near on that level. Next thing which I want to talk about is the fact that technically speaking, the game can't get any worse. The problem with the title, the problem with why people don't particularly enjoy it was because of a lack of content, because of the amount of features that were gutted before release, just leaving sort of like this empty shell of an experience which at its heart was just an extremely basic early access survival game. An update can't remove content, it can't make the game worse, it can't take things out, and generally speaking it can't break anything. So even if there aren't portals in this next update, even if there isn't a multiplayer segment or conflict or updated caves with unique animals, things like that, there will still be other additions which people will love. Hello Games would not just focus an update on one thing. They wouldn't just drop an update, it's 500 meg and it adds portals and that's it. They're always going to put something alongside it. So either way, this update cannot make the game less enjoyable to play. Yes, it could be disappointing, but at the moment that's completely down to players hyping it up. And I guess you could argue that because Hello Games haven't particularly stated anything, people are getting a little bit out of hand with the speculation, MZK, then it is sort of their fault if people are disappointed. But you can go sort of both ways from that argument. And the last thing which I want to talk about is the fact that, as far as we know, this update is free. And this is because, not that I'm saying it will be, but if the update were to be a letdown, that is so much better than it being a paid update, than it being a paid title like at release, where we have effectively been scammed. I would much prefer to be let down by something which I didn't pay for than something which I shelled out my hard-earned money on. People hated the game at launch because they wasted their money, but you can't waste your money on an update unless you buy the game specifically for the update, but that's your own fault. So even if people don't like the update, they can't necessarily start rioting because they didn't pay for it. It almost sounds a little bit spoiled, really. You're getting something for free, but you're still complaining. And I think that is a pretty clever move on Hello Games' behalf, because it means that people can't really get as angry as they did at launch, because that was understandable since they paid for it. So to conclude, hype cannot kill this update. Hype cannot make No Man's Sky a worse game. In the best situation possible, it can make the game better. If this update was actually good, then it might attract some of the players which it lost, but it can't kill off players. That is just simply not possible unless it somehow turns it into a FPS or something, and people don't want that. I have no clue. But this update will still feature a load of changes or additions, and even if it isn't the multiplayer update that we were expecting, it's not Hello Games' fault. It's your own fault for hyping it up. They have learned from their mistakes, and I don't think that they'd be stupid enough to say that stuff is in the game when it wouldn't. So that is the end of the video, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. As always, if you did enjoy, then please do feel free to leave a like on the video. If you guys can also subscribe to MZK, then that'd be absolutely fantastic. And as always, I will see you guys on my next video. This is SkintBoot, signing out. I just missed a 10-minute mark. Fuck.